Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Pot Smoker's Bible. My name is Zion. I'm the author of the Pot Smoker's Bible, which contains the prophetic book of Zion, where I get my name and authority. It comes from the Ketuvim, or Old Testament, of the Hebrew Bible. And today I'm working on the 22nd part of the dissertation of the 27th chapter of the Pot Smoker's Bible, which contains the 24th chapter of the book of Zion. And I'm in the middle of a dissertation, so I'm going to pick up. We were talking about the Ogallala Aquifer. And the foreknowledge of it, the collapse of the aquifer, given to us by prophets, makes it an event that is tied to the grave. Their knowledge of its imminent occurrence is an awe-inspiring fact. We will go into the caves of the rocks in fear and majesty. The event is fearful. The knowledge of the grave in its regard is monumental proof of their truth and intent. They are telling us this is about to happen. We need to be prepared. Another reason I believe that the Ogallala Aquifer poses a real threat is the oracles of the 1990s. Um, the Gray showed many people maps of America that showed the Great Lakes as part of a sea channel that separated the Rockies from the current East Coast. Only Ogallala could do that. Only the collapse of the roof of the aquifer could cause the Gulf of Mexico to be connected to the Great Lakes. The aquifer covers part of Texas, the westernmost part, but Oklahoma, where they're fracking the hell out of the state, pretty much all of Kansas, most of Nebraska, and a little bit of South Dakota. In the future maps, these states are underwater. Everything from the foothills of the Rockies to the Ohio Valley is a great ocean channel. No Iowa, no Missouri, no Arkansas, no Louisiana, part of Texas, no Oklahoma, no Kansas, no Nebraska, and just part of South Dakota. So, the evidence of the 1990s oracles lends credence to my theory of the collapse of the aquifer. So, we need to do this. We need to create Zion. We need to convince as many Americans in the Midwest as possible to join us in the mountains. We need to create our inner mountain arcs, and we need to do it soon, because time is ticking. The ground beneath my feet isn't as safe as you might think it is. It's always better to prepare for the worst than to face it unprepared. Prepare for the worst, expect the best, and hopefully we will get something manageable. The in-between. We don't have forever to save ourselves. So to be on the safe side, it's time to prepare. Because when time runs out, it's too late. Isaiah 2:10, Zion 24:20. Enter into the rock and hide you in the dust for fear of the Lord and for the glory of his majesty. On one level, of course, this means rock and roll and drugs, like cocaine and methamphetamines. We hide in our music, like Boston says in More Than a Feeling, I hide in my music, forget the day. And we all experience the fear and glory of God, the threefold God, when we do drugs, especially if we go off the deep end with dust like cocaine and meth. This surely fits this ideal. However, the greater volume of verses like this one points to an actual future event that requires sheltering in the caves of the mountains or in the rocks of our home. Music and drugs do define Zionites, but I believe this is part of the passage of northern destruction, the great destruction of the north, the events that require actual physical shelter in caves and rocks and mountains. This event is going to inspire fear in all humanity, even those outside of the zone of destruction. It will highlight, as nothing else can, the abilities of the aliens to foresee future planetary events like the much worse firestorm that is also on its way and also unavoidable. This factual evidence of the alien God as the true ancient gods will inspire fear and awe in the human race. No one will logically be able to refute the Gray's claim of familiar relations with the DNA testing. Um, they will be shown to be related to humanity. All will know that. This will be the proof prophecy is fulfilled as foretold. So, this destruction of the North is proof of the Gray's true nature as gods of humanity, able to tell the future. The remaining population of the Earth after this foretold destruction will finalize each human's response to the Gray. Those who won't heed the warnings will perish in fear and ash. Those who embrace the truth will know the majesty that is the Gray as God. Isaiah 2:21, Zion 24:21. To go into the clefts of the rocks and into the top of the ragged rocks, for fear of the Lord and for the glory of his majesty, when he arises to shake terrible the earth. I will personally never fear the Gray, but they have promised to always be kind to me and mine. That doesn't mean that others won't fear them. This is unavoidable thanks to the U.S. government and Hollywood. Most people fear the alien ideal. They've been taught to fear what they don't understand at best, and thanks to Hollywood, for many, alien equates to monster who are going to take over our world. I may know better, but I'm just one. On the other hand, me and all of my Star Trek and Star Wars fans are eagerly anticipating the arrival of aliens in the first contact scenario. Me, I want to be first. We who aren't afraid of aliens and who don't have the false concept of God are waiting with bated breath to embrace the awesome event that we call first contact. Ooh. Sorry. I and many others look forward to the aliens being present on our world, but their arrival so soon before an event that they themselves foretell us of will be seen as them creating the event, and I'm pretty sure many humans will look at it that way. It will seem as if they arrive, move us into the mountains, and then boom, the aquifer collapses. The Earth shakes, but doesn't move out of its orbit. When the shaking stops, the world will be in shock. It will appear as though the Gray collapsed the aquifer. So we will go into the tops of the ragged rocks, the Rockies. We will hide in the clefts of the rocks, our inner mountain shelter, and soon afterwards, by fate or design, Oglala will fail. America will be reduced greatly, and the entire planet will feel it, because it will shake the entire planet. And in our mountains, the shaking will be at its worst, being so close to the epicenter of the collapse. I am not looking forward to that day. Nebraska is my home. I love the wide open expanse of the land. I love the open sky that reveals the heavens at night. Here you can still find enough darkness to see the stars. I love America. I have traveled through all the states that will be gone soon. They are each beautiful, and the thought of their destruction hurts me. So many lives will be lost. So much land will be inundated with ocean. There will be very little landmass left in America, the USA, and most of it will belong to Zion. We will save as many as we can. We will provide shelter. That is the reason we were created, to save as many lives as possible, and to mourn for all the lives lost in the great northern destruction. Isaiah 10:12, Zion 24:22. Wherefore it shall come to pass, that when the Lord hath performed his whole work upon Mount Zion and on Jerusalem, I will punish the fruit of the stout heart of the king of Assyria and the glory of his high looks. Once America has been dealt with, and Jerusalem has been transformed by the integration of Judaism into Islam, i.e., Palestinians and Jews reuniting in the name of Abraham, having put aside the ancient family feud. When these two Abrahamic states are joined in alliance, what remains of the Middle East will consist of those Islamic peoples who reject the ending of the family feud. This new Middle Eastern non-Jewish alliance of states will resemble Assyria. It will be the next target of prophetic events. Those Islamic sects will reject Gray and Israel, will be dealt with, and all that comes from that region will find themselves facing the wrath of the Gray. I believe this is setting up the event called Armageddon in the Christian mythos. But the point is, events move back to the Middle East once Zion is established. Assyria was the template for our current social order. Our most basic forms of governing systems stems from this region. It was the first true empire, and all others are based on it, so it makes sense to call out the Assyrian kingdom template when a king ruled by his ego, not for the people. The king priests of Assyria are similar to the current Islamic governmental norm. Iran, Iraq, and even Egypt are part of this ancient empire template. It is this region, that political practice, that is subject to the greatest punishment. Zion and Israel will enjoy the prosperity of being gray. Events will move to other regions that violate galactic law, that will be subject to gray rule. What was once the Assyrian Empire may by then be again a kingdom, but a kingdom as in old times, or just the combined Islamic states, is just lip service. The gray will end the power base in this region. In other words, oil will end. Oil is the only thing about that part of the world that would make it the second priority for the gray. By shutting down the use of oil, we will stop adding fuel to the coming fire, stop oil production, and CO2 emissions also in a large part stop. It won't stop the firestorm, but it will buy us some time. The sooner we stop using oil, the better off our children will be. So Assyrian oil goes. That is the next most urgent requirement for the future of our planet, and that will surely take the smug look off of every holier-than-thou Arabic nation's face, who sells us oil and wallows in their wealth, thinking us as infidels. Just as there are good and bad Christians and Jews, so there are good and bad in Islam. Those who reject as Allah will end up forcing his wrath, having become themselves infidels, thus ending their high looks. Nahum 2:13, Zion 24:23. Behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord of hosts, and I will burn her chariots in the smoke, and I will cut off thy prey from the earth, and the voice of the messenger shall no more be heard. Chariots are, of course, ancient for cars. The Middle Eastern region, where Assyria once existed, is the main supply for gas for the cars that jostle in the way, as Isaiah called it. The use of gasolines for transportation is at the heart of global warming. Our cars have to go. The human animal has become toxic to life on Earth. Humanity sees itself as a superior form of life. They somehow equate that to mean that everything else is easy game. Things with no souls that are hewn simply to be our prey, raw materials for our consumption. We kill innocent beings simply because we can. We are toxic. And there I'm ending for this section. May the Gray watch over you, guide you, protect you, and keep you from all harm. May they treat you right, teach you right from wrong, and may you always be worthy of them. May your thoughts, words, and deeds reflect truth, good, and light, the unicorn way. Be the joy, people. Stay happy and high. Know that I love you. We'll be together soon. Until then, later, because I'll never say goodbye.